Alright guys, Paul back here again for another video. In this one, a little bit of fun, we're going to be taking a look at an original 2001 WWF European Championship replica belt. And we're going to be looking at the 2019 WWE Shop remake, the WWE European Championship replica belt. So, like I mentioned, this is a 2001 original. This does come, both for metal plates I should say, this comes with the 2mm thick metal plates. This one, 2019 remake, comes with the 5mm thick casted metal plates. Both belts have had their simulated leather straps removed. I've replaced both with real leather straps, so we're not going to be really comparing the straps because they should be pretty identical. That one's still snapped together, but yeah, they're both real leather. They were both re-leathered by myself within like 2 months of each other, so both pretty new straps, and they both have really dark green leather backing, which probably comes up as black on camera. Right, that being said, we'll talk about mostly the plates and we'll go into these a little bit. But yeah, let's get started. Right, there, hopefully you can see the belts fairly clearly on the table there. And immediately looking at them, it should be obvious there are several differences between the two versions of the belt. And I'm going to explain why this is. There was a few different iterations of this design. If you remember, the original one came with the WWF block logo. This was like when Shawn Michaels held it. You remember it had the green strap. I think it had brown croc backing or red burgundy croc backing or some weird backing, but it had a dark green strap, it had the WWF block logo, and it had a few paint differences. Later on it was changed to a black strap, WWF logo, dark green leather backing. At times this black paint here was red as well. A few different iterations, like I say. What I will say though is this new 2019 re-release, annoyingly for me at least, the design for the main majority of the plate they've taken from that original block logo version of this belt. And obviously there's nothing wrong with that. Just for me it's a little bit strange because personally I prefer the design of the scratch logo version, and while there aren't a lot of differences, things like the World Wrestling Federation being painted in white rather than being left in gold, I prefer the white. I think it stands out, it pops really nicely, and I mean entertainment. No one likes that part on old WWF belts. But yeah, similarly the WWE logo in this case is painted red. Like I mentioned, there was versions of the real belt which did have red behind the logo, so that's not a huge deal. But one thing I will mention is the flags on a European belt, and I've not mentioned them yet, and if you've been looking at the belts, you've probably noticed some inconsistencies, some differences, and some confusing flag choices. Right, so the European belt design and the real belts used on TV were made by Jody Marshall, the guy who made most of the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era belts. Now, I don't think most people will get really offended when I say this, but a lot of Americans don't really know much about Europe. Similarly, I know very little about America. I know Chicago's flag, that's about it. Phil, I mean, Google was around in the 90s when this belt was made, which makes it kind of funnier for me. So let's talk about these flags. You'll look at the left and you'll think, it's very consistent. It's Greece, Germany, and the Swiss flag. They both match. That's where that stops, pretty much. We'll flip over to the other side. So on the 2019 remake, we have the French, Swedish, and Portuguese flag. On the WWF version, we have the Italian, Swedish, and a backwards Portuguese flag. I don't know why it's backwards. Like, he got it right there. On the bottom of the center plate, it's the right way around, but on the side of it, it's backwards. And the Portuguese flag actually looks really nice on the remake. It's got the details of the crest on the inside of the flag looking a lot nicer than whatever this is supposed to be. Yeah, that looks terrible. But you'll be forgiven. You'll be forgiven for flipping a flag back and forth. But when we get to the bottom 8 flags, this is where we get a few changes. Let's talk about this. So we have the Norwegian flag here, the German flag, the Irish, the UK, another French flag. So we got 2 on the 2019 belt. We've got a Spanish flag, a second Portuguese flag, and a Romanian flag. So other than the duplicate French flag, it's looking alright, and of course the duplicate Portuguese flag, which you can't really change. I mean, the French flag could very easily be repainted as the Italian flag, for example, which in this case it is. But when we talk about them on the WWF version of the belt, we have the Denmark, yeah, Danish flag, another German flag, so that matches the 2019 remake. We have another Italian flag, so no Irish flag in this case. We have the UK horrible Union Jack. We have a third Italian flag. Okay, there's not a single Italian flag on the 2019 remake. We have 3 of them on the old belt. We have the Spanish flag, similarly to the 2019 belt. We have the Portuguese flag. And last but not least, on the original 2001 WWF European belt, we actually have the flag of Mali, which is in West Africa. I love this belt, honestly. It's so stupid, and literally a Google search would have done like wonders for this. And I'm criticizing Jamar for this. I probably shouldn't. It's whoever designed or like ticked off the design of the replica paint job. But having said that, the flags on the real belt on TV were all over the place as well. So I'm taking the piss a little bit here, but 3 Italian flags. No one needs that much Italian in their life. Come on. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about in the center plate. The side plates are pretty much identical, really, other than the logos and the thickness and detail of the plates themselves. So they look nice. I do like the side plates on this belt. The kind of floral sunburst design behind the wrestlers looks really fitting, actually. I should say on the WWF version, it does have that rare property of WWF World Wrestling Federation 6th plate, which I think kind of completes the belt. The WWE version didn't come with any 6th plate, unfortunately, which is fair enough, but considering it's basing the design off of the block logo, it would have been kind of cool to see that old style of block logo 6th plate, but it is what it is. This is how they chose to make this replica belt. And the leather design on both is pretty much identical. I've gone for the old school Jamar style snapbox, so this is the original version of snapbox that he did, which was the entire snap area, instead of having a kind of floral tooling design, literally it's all just stamped down, so it's got this little bit of texture that you can hopefully see. But I actually love doing these old style snap boxes, to be honest. It really does look old school, because normally you have, like I said, all this kind of floral or just pattern design in it, but no, on these it's very basic. It does have the camouflage tooling going all around top and bottom of both belts, like I mentioned. I also said earlier, it does have the dark green backing. I think that's probably just coming up as black with this lighting, which is a shame, but it's very dark green. Similarly, on this belt, it has the exact same. Right, I think that was pretty much all I wanted to talk about. I know I kind of went into a little bit of rambling about the 2 belt designs and the flags, but the flags on this belt are just stupid, let's be honest. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, I hope it was useful. Personally, if I'm giving a recommendation, I don't like the 2019 remake. It's not a very good replica. There's a lot of belts they've remade recently, like the Oval IC, the Undisputed V2. Those belts are amazing. If you've seen my top 5 current replica belts WWE Sell video, those are in the top 5 easily. And as remakes, they're probably the best remakes they've done yet. This one, I'm not a fan of at all, really, to be honest. Given the choice, I would take this 2mm version every day of the week. The belt, the detail on it's really shallow compared to the other remade belts recently, and it's so flat. Like, the plate is so flat. Most of the remakes recently are really curved, and if this had a curve, it would improve it greatly, but given it's pretty much just a flat plate, very shallow detail, and the artwork is really off. It's a mixture of the block logo, it's a mixture of the scratch logo. I personally don't like that belt. I'd recommend it if someone's wanting a European belt, because these are so difficult to find. If you desperately want a European belt, it's a good enough replica, but given I would have the choice, given the choice between the 2 of them, I would take the WWF version every day of the week. It is a far superior replica, even with those 2mm thick plates. It is disappointing, to be honest, that this remake, it isn't up to the level that the most recent remakes have been, it is disappointing. The European is one of my favourite belt designs, and I was really looking forward to seeing the remade belt. And yeah, of the remade belts they've released as of late, this is probably the most disappointing. So take that advice how you will. If you are interested in the belt, by all means buy it if you really want it. Like I said though, personally, I prefer the old replica. But that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this was informative at all in the slightest. That being said, if you did enjoy it, please do subscribe to the video and like the video as well if you don't mind. If we could get up to a couple hundred likes, that genuinely does help the videos kind of get a bigger audience and reach more people, which is handy. It kind of makes talking into a camera not a complete waste of time. That being said, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it as always. Cheers.
Yo, monkeys, it's me, DDP. And if you want to get one of the greatest belts made for you, go to Paulmartinbelts. That's right, sucker.